for whoever is here. It's almost live. It's saying it's preparing. So just give me a second here. And I'm really grateful to see you because I really enjoyed being with you and what you shared
Thank you.
at our last retreat, which was at the Wailea Healing Center
Yeah.
in January. And one more sec, we are almost there. All right. And 1, 2, 3. So, welcome. I'm Janice, and I'm here today with the amazing and wonderful and inspiring Kale. And I really want him to be able to share with all of you a little bit about him and how we connected and why we're doing what we're doing together. And now that I'm beyond the technology part, okay, so I'm just grateful for you and your time. And those of you that are watching, if you're watching and you feel called, there's a reason you're watching because this is a very special person here. And he is part of the group that we've brought together for our retreat in October 3rd through 6th at Lumeria Retreat Center. And I'm just grateful to be able to bring the beautiful wisdom and storytelling that you shared just a little bit with us in January. And then afterwards we all decided we wanted to come together and do more because I feel like we're all being called to help people and support people in remembering who they are so that we can stand strong in this time. There's a lot of things here, and I'm grateful I chose to be here during this time. And I'm grateful that I got to meet you. So somehow we're connected out there in the circle. And so
Yeah.
thank you for being here. Would you come and share with us a little bit about you? And we are now clearly we're very close. He's in Kihei, which is we call it the desert part of the island here on Maui. But he's got a great story and relationship to Maui. So thank you for being here and taking the time to share with our audience. And
Yeah.
go for it. Share with us a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess I can start. Yeah, my name is Kale Kahi, and my lineage is here in Hawaii, amongst many places, but this is where I grew up, and this is where I've learned a lot about the cultural traditions through going to halau, which is our cultural schooling, and there's different types of teachers, that we call kumu, which can mean like tree or source of knowledge, and so I've been grateful to have that kind of contact with my cultural understanding and awareness as a Native Hawaiian man in my own home uh, through teachers that have gone through their initiations and rites of passage to then become kind of the source of knowledge for this Ike Kupuna, which is like the visions and the ancestral uh, intelligence, the original AI that comes through. So, yeah, grateful for my teachers, grateful for my home, grateful for the lineage that I carry. And so, by saying that, I've been a cultural practitioner for most of my life. I've also innovated cultures for others in understanding how to belong and to be at home and how to take care of their home. So a lot of my teachings deals with stewardship of land, air, and water, which I believe is natural law, LAW. And I also work with men and women, but primarily men on honoring masculinity in a healthy way, while also learning how to be in right relationship with their partners, their beloveds, their children, their brotherhoods, their own parentage, and things like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much, where I've been, in a nutshell. But many times when I come onto conversations, it's like, so what do you do, right? Like, what's your occupation? Well, in many ways, I'm a high performance coach. I help men. Get to different places in their life where they have direct reciprocity because you might have a man that quietly suffers through things for a while and feels overwhelmed and anxiety, and then in that there is some kind of sideways energy. They're not able to regulate emotionally in real time. So I help them with that. I help them see their relationships differently from giving reframes and different perspectives alongside of the indigenous wisdom because there's nothing new under the sun. It's just we've kind of gotten too far into the spaces of removing ourselves from that. And then the fast pace of, technological advancement and hustle culture and you name it. And so I just help people, men and women to step into community leadership in a healthy way while also representing themselves, as you in their uniqueness as being hybrid people, right? We're all mixed. So although I have my native connections and lineages and bloodline here in Hawaii, I also have ancestry from Europe. I also have ancestry from Southeast Asia and in Melanesia and all those places. So yeah, it's just doing good work and understanding grief and praise and connection to people through, yeah, plant, animal, mineral, ethereal, and human.
So if you know me, you know why I would love this person. Because everything that you say is just so beautiful, and I love that you honor that. And we are all connected. We're probably related. I have
Mhm.
ancestors from all over. But what I was so struck with your storytelling that I loved so much is that you bring it through. And you
Mhm.
talked a little bit about that, right? It wasn't so much the book learning, right? It was the stories that were told to you,
Yeah.
even through your, and maybe you can explain that a little bit, how it comes through to you,
Mhm.
and in bringing, because being here on Maui and just embracing the Hawaiian culture and trying to learn more about it, and just in reverence.
Mhm.
And I loved what you said about land, air, and water, the law. Beautiful. Never heard that way.
Right.
And so I just feel like you bring so much of that. Tell me a little bit about when you were young, and how you realized you were learning these stories.
Yeah. Um, so when I was younger, it was an understanding that I had from my grandparents. Now, well, I have to just remember too that they were um kind of products, quote unquote, of their own time. They were born, in the 40s, 30s and 40s, and that was a time before World War II, and Christianity already had a strong hold. And so when I was growing up, I was in a Christian household, and like I learned those ways. And my mother, when I lived with her and my family, my stepdad and everything, I started to understand that, like, oh, okay, what I was learning from a young age about who I am through my grandparents, it wasn't like this is who you are. It was like this is what we do because we're Hawaiian. And it wasn't until I had gone through my adolescent stage and left the house that I went to cultural school to understand the deeper, like, meanings and messages that were coming. And then upon my reflection, I was like, oh, this is what my grandparents were telling me. And even in the stories that they would share, it wasn't so specific as to, like, this is what you need to know because you're going to use it later. It was just like, here, this is for you because you're my grandchild. And so I didn't have this uh depth of understanding and storytelling. I had to cultivate that myself. I had to learn the sequences of ceremony. I had to understand what prayer really is and what does that mean when you have it rooted in place, that place-based knowledge. And then also with ritual. So that's the kind of thing that I brought through when we met with the people, was an understanding ceremony, prayer, and ritual, which is CPR, right? The understanding, like, if there is a society that has forgotten how to breathe, a society that is struggling with identity, a society that does not have their ceremonies anymore, their rites of passage or their initiations, what do you do to help them? Well, you have to bring the ceremonies back in a rooted way, an ancient way, a belonging way, which comes from indigeneity, a re-indigenization, not just decolonization. And prayer, not as just something that you're asking for yourself, but prayer as a way to invigorate the channel of what it means to actually have a spirit, a mind, and a body, and to have emotional regulation, which allows for the evolution of the human being through that, seeking and searching, and through that grounding and integration. And so that requires ritual, which means something that's done repetitively, right? So you might think of it as discipline leads to devotion, or that maybe the routine that you have during your day is part of the ritual, because routine might give you the task to complete, but what are you filling it in with? What is it that you're actually applying in your day to day, your night to night intentionality? Are you waking up in the morning and giving your gratitudes to another day, to the rising sun? So in that way, it's like, okay, not only are you doing it to get back into your circadian rhythm as things come into balance, which is what a lot of Westerners like to think, like, oh, I have to do this because it's a way to biohack. You can't hack the body. But what you can do is kind of surrender yourself and submit yourself to the things that have always been going on, the natural rhythms of life that are happening, whether you know it or not. And so it's deeply, this work is deeply seated in realms of the unknown and in the mystery. And so when I talk about stories that I had learned, it's that I have to adapt them for the times that I'm in. I have to innovate these stories towards the modern time because I'm not going back. I'm not going back to the past. I wasn't there, but I did have the voices of those who were the embodiments and the witnessing of their time while they were here. And now that they've passed on and that they've died, I grieve them by simply sharing the story again as the mouthpiece of what has come before. And so that grieving doesn't always have to require sadness, right? For people, it's like, yeah, you can be angry too. You could be happy. but it's a mixed bag of emotions. It's like sometimes you're spinning the wheel, like, how am I feeling today? And it's like, this is what it is. And paying attention to that, tending to it, staying on your routine, while also giving yourself the good graces of that. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to participate. And that's a big thing there too.
I love that. I just love all that. And of course, I'm a fan of biohacking with supplementation, but I understand
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying. We have to have that routine and that meditation,
Mm-hmm.
prayer. I get up every morning. There's a definite routine I have. And then, of course, that
Yeah.
routine before bed as we wind down so that we can prepare to sleep
Yes.
and dream, right? And hear those
Yes.
those messages. So, what I want to tell our viewers is that if you like what you're hearing, you're going to get to see him in person. And we're going to be bringing some of these ceremonials and sharing these rituals and sharing these ideas at the event, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the beauty of having five different people that are involved with our unique skill sets and the things that we offer from our knowledge base, and also the ways that we've been in our own way learning, right, from those that have taught us, or our own self-exploration, so that we can now make this applicable, right? So for me, and what I bring is just that perspective that isn't really heard much, or even when it is, it's kind of too foreign for most people, especially if they're coming from a Western mindset or modern society. And none of this is about pointing fingers or blaming, but when you have an indigenous perspective in spaces, it's a rarity. Even being out here in Maui, so I can just speak on it close to home. Maui is like an international trading place for everything and everyone. People, whether they're a U.S. citizen or a citizen of another country, east to west, everything comes through here, through Hawaii. However, Hawaiian people are not very much, visible. And a lot of the gentrification that has happened here in our home has had dramatic effects on having us leave and going to other places to make a living. And so I feel a duty and a responsibility to be in these spaces where people are gathering, and it doesn't matter what kind of gathering or retreat or anything like that. It's important to have the voice of the people that have been here for thousands of years to then share their perspective, share their insights, their experiences, share their knowledge and their wisdoms that come from, being of a place for so long. And so I see that as a responsibility. And it doesn't make me better than anyone. Again, it's that uniqueness of something that is rarely seen, rarely heard, rarely spoken about, that we all have a connection to, because each and every person that I come across, I don't just see them as labels of colors, skin color, or, a specific nation or region.
Age,
Yeah,
age.
yeah, yeah, or age. And it doesn't concern me. What concerns me is if you are able to be at a place that isn't your home, how do you conduct yourself as a guest? Right? And how are you hosted? And then how do you host others in your own home? And what does that mean? And so for me, the indigeneity of that understanding is key to our reclamation of who we are. The identities shouldn't be put upon modern constructs, it should be put upon what we're able to do for people in place and everything within it. So if you're a good person and you like to say you're a good person, then what is your intentions, right, in living your life? Are you creating art from it, or are you just going through the motions? Are you here because you feel that you are called for a soul project or purpose? Good. What does that require? It all requires relationship. Are you in right relationship? Are you in healthy relationship? So our ability to remember and to have memory as human beings, because we're so quick to forget, really relies upon having those relationships that can remind us again. So coming to an event where people are learning about who they are because things has gotten foggy or they've forgotten, then yes, this is what I'm here to help do, which is the art of living and memory and remembrance. So we don't are out, so we're not out in the world rudderless.
Wow.
Without sails, hmm
You couldn't have, I mean, that you just said it so beautifully because that's what we're trying to do. I feel called, every single one of us, Jessica Brazil, Bree Wolf, Paul Williams, we all feel called to contribute and to make a difference. And I'm talking all the time of living with intention. We
Yeah.
really, I wake up with intention. So it's going to be such a great event. I can't wait to have the time with you just personally. I feel like the retreat is for me, just for me.
Yeah. It
And I'm
happens
so
to me.
grateful. And I know,
Yeah.
just I want to end this quickly. I want to say you've done retreats, you go to retreats at Lumeria. Is there anything that you could tell everybody about why they need to get on that plane and join us at Lumeria.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I focus my events and gatherings towards that re-indigenization that I've been speaking on. So it's co-ed events that I do. And the importance of that when people come out here to Maui is that it's a unique experience that they couldn't have anywhere else other than being here on Maui. Because of the potency of this land, because of the history, because of the cultural traditions that have come by way of the people. So to me, it's like, you can come to Hawaii and just be a tourist and have that experience. And that's all well and good. We've been traversing in that for over 100 years now. Or you can come to Maui as an active participant in learning what it means to be you and educate yourself, which is really the hardest thing to do, to be educated upon things that are outside of your normal experience, to what you're familiar with. So it gets uncomfortable, as it should. The discomfort is the sign that something is working and it's happening. And so that's what I do. Make things a little uncomfortable, but then
Well,
also
thank
help
goodness
it
we'll be
land.
at Lumeria where it's comfortable.
Yeah, it's good for that. Yeah.
You have some things coming up too. You do retreats regularly, and we'll put information in the comments as well. But if you wanted to
Yeah.
share a little bit about that, I think that would be great.
Yeah, yeah. At least the one that I have coming up next week, spots are filling up already. So it's just something I wanna yeah, just to share. It's called Maui Mana. Mana means life force, but it also means in a way mana is how you f feed a baby because they don't have teeth yet. So normally you have to chew up the food and pass them solid food so they can start getting used to having solid food. And so the way that I bring through this understanding is small bites, keeping it simple, starting small and being consistent so that people can absorb this knowledge without rushing towards the destination, without having to rush towards, oh, I got it, it's all figured out. Now I understand aloha spirit, when all this stuff. It's just like, no, no, no. Just learning slowly and surely, steadily on what that means. And so that's why I have the events Maui Mana in particular that I do and other ones is because there is a need to answer the culturelessness of our modern society, and that's why I do it because I feel called to do it. I feel like I've been equipped to do it by my teachers, and I feel like I've been charged with this duty by those very people who taught me,
I
to go
love
do the things. So yeah, just rootedness and belonging and inspiration towards innovation because I'm not here to tell people about their ancestors. I'm here to get them on the path to discover that for themselves and
Oh, I
to
love that. I feel very
orient.
connected to my ancestors.
Yeah.
And I felt that connection and everything when we had the event together, the retreat in January.
Hmm.
I know it's going to be so special. So those of you who are curious, we'll be sure and put the information. Right now, we have Kamaina prices for locals. We have early bird specials. If you buy one, you get one free. So we just want you to come. We don't want any obstacles. We will work with you because we'd love those people that are ready and really wanting to be in a situation like this on Maui to learn from people that have some understandings and stories and wisdom to share with you, like you, Kale. And thank you so much. I'm sure your ancestors are so honored by your actions, by your discipline, your commitment, and your way of living. I follow you on Instagram. Be sure and do that. He's got a great channel there and he shares a lot and can
Hmm.
give you some real ideas, especially if you're a man. I think you should definitely connect with him and come and see us in Maui in October. Is there anything last you'd like to leave everybody with before we sign off?
Oh, yeah, just grateful. Thank you for the time. I'm glad that I could be here with you, Janice, and thanks for invigorating the connection. And I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I really am. And it's going to be such a powerful connection of people that are there. And I saw that in January. And I'm sure you see it at every retreat. The people that are supposed to be there, somehow they get there. And
Yeah.
so I look forward to meeting you out there if that's you. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person too. And you have a
Yeah.
wonderful time and we'll talk soon. Thank you for
You
your
too.
time.
Mahalo.
Bye.
Bye.
Mahalo.